in addition to Kunyaza, there's another book I wrote called Illuminating the Performance, which talks about womanizing and erotology, but to men. But that's mainly, it's not religious perspective. It's addressed to young men under the age of 30. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that, under the age of 35, shall I say, is because whether you're religious or not religious, Muslim or not Muslim, whatever, I know for a lot of men, the issue of womanizing or player or whatever you want to call it is an issue. So I wanted to talk about, so how would you address it without patronizing a young man? Now, but rather than say, even for Muslims, so the famous hadith of a man came to the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, and asked if the Prophet can permit fornication. He wanted to fornicate. Now, the Prophet, a lot of people at the time, they came to him and they said, why are you saying this? How can you, have you got no shame? The Prophet immediately asked the young man to come and approach him, and he just asked him, would you like that for your sister? Immediately the man said no, most definitely no. Would you like it for your mother? Would you like it for other female members in your family? In order for him to understand that, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of men that might womanize, be players, whatever, but we don't want that for our women folk. So we know inherently it's wrong. And the way you address it, sometimes it's not just about, this is haram, because it doesn't work for some people. Or even just say that if you love someone, why would you cheat? Because for some men, we have no issue of, in terms of our understanding of having a wife or girlfriend, and also having a side piece or side chick, however you want to call it in America, or someone on the side. And that, even Muslims, there's a lot of Muslims that do this, and you abuse polygamy in order to suit their own desires, and you halalify it, like you call it halalified womanizing. So you've got your wife, and then you've got a secret wife, especially someone who comes new into Islam. It's a phenomenon which happens in the UK. I'm not sure if it happens in America, where unfortunately that you've got Muslim women that come into Islam, that embrace Islam, and rather than the imam or the person that's trying to teach them about Islam to safeguard them and act as their wali, their guardian, they secretly marry them, don't tell their other wife, have sexual relations, and then divorce them. And then a lot of women leave, and I've seen this repeatedly. Now again, I'm not saying that, and the problem is because technically, quote unquote, it fulfills the conditions of marriage, it's halal, and a lot of even Muslim men who are aware of this, they keep quiet. And this is something that I had an issue, because I'm not going to lie, even beforehand, this was something that crossed my mind. So whilst I was, shall we say, engaged in extracurricular activities that I knew that was haram, I thought, okay, let me halalify this. And this is something which even some religious people said, oh, why don't you just, marry this sister? And I know I'm not committed to her. It's a halal. Just, enjoy her for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then you can divorce her. Khalas, it's fine. Now, if my upbringing wasn't like, that's marriage, you don't mess about with a woman like that, I would have engaged in that. And there's a lot of Muslim men that do that, and they don't see anything wrong with that. And what my issue is that other Muslim men who know about this, even within the, I'm not calling anyone out, but who are well respected in inverted commas, are engaged in this practice. No one's even calling them out, because technically it's legitimate, it's halal, because it follows the letter of the law, but it doesn't follow the spirit of the law, because people know this is haram. I think
that is an exploitation of that word halal. Because how is it halal to emotionally abuse someone? Where is that halal? So it's like when you think about this act where it's like, well, it's halal. How is it halal? You're emotionally abusing someone. You're playing with their emotions. You're exploiting them, and you don't know the psychological and emotional damage that you're inflicting on them and the trauma. So where is it halal? And if a woman was doing it, if sisters started running around doing that mess, they'd be ready to string them all up and or find a hole and stone them to death or something like that. So I agree
with you entirely. It's not. That's why I said that. Because people are looking at the letter of the law. When they know, when you're looking at Islam, you have to look at the spirit of the law as well as the letter of the law. You know it's not allowed, but people are, again, from a male perspective, because he's just thinking very selfishly, he's playing with the religion to suit his own desires. So that's something which, again, we need to kind of address as Muslim men and women, but I think men more so, because it's going on, but you're not checking other men, you're just keeping quiet about it.
No. So definitely the protection of male masculinity in all Islamic cultures that I've observed in my experience, where domestic violence, the exploitation of laws of polygamy, just run rampant in the culture, and Muslim men don't do anything about it. In the state, like you said, like, you know, you're watching out for your privilege. You're watching out for your homeboy. So a lot of times you don't say anything.